Have you ever had the feeling that your life is constantly full, yet when you stop for a moment and look back, you can't clearly tell what has actually changed? The days move fast. They're not empty. If anything, they feel overloaded. Messages, calls, tasks, thoughts that don't really turn off. Even late at night, you wake up already feeling like the day is expecting something from you. Someone to reply to, something to finish, something you shouldn't forget. And throughout the day, you are in motion. You solve things, you respond. You start one thing and postpone another. But there's something strange about it. When things finally go quiet, late in the evening or in those rare moments of silence on us, a feeling shows up that's hard to ignore. It feels like you were moving all day, but you're not sure in which direction. It doesn't feel like failure. It doesn't feel like a crisis. Nothing has collapsed. From the outside, on everything looks fine. You're functioning. You're working. You're keeping things together, and yet there's a sense that you're standing in the same place while time keeps moving forward. This feeling is subtle. That's what makes it dangerous. It's easy to explain it away. Fatigue, stress, just a phase. You tell yourself, this is temporary. It'll get easier later. Now is not the right time. And sometimes that's true, but sometimes it isn't. Sometimes this isn't a phase at all. Sometimes it's a state people live in for years, without ever clearly noticing it. A state where you're constantly busy, but rarely feel like you're moving towards something you actually want. And the strange part is, in this state, people don't usually think that something is wrong with them, because they're trying. They're not doing nothing. They haven't given up. That's exactly why this feeling is so easy to miss. You compare yourself to people who are clearly stuck and think, at least I'm doing better than that. But the real comparison isn't with other people. It's between the life you're living and the life you quietly hoped you'd be living. And at some point, a very quiet question appears. One most people try to push away. Where am I actually going? Not in some big dramatic sense. Not, what's my purpose? Just this. What in my life is truly moving forward? And what is only filling time? And if you answer that honestly, right now, the answer might not be very comfortable. The problem is, this state almost never looks serious. There's no clear moment where you wake up and realize, I'm stuck. Everything happens gradually. You live your life. You do what needs to be done. You solve what's in front of you. And over time, this becomes normal. You wake up, look at your to-do list. It's never empty. Even on days off, like your mind keeps running. What you should do, what you forgot, what's waiting for you. The day goes by quickly. By the evening, you're tired. And the tiredness feels justified. After all, you were busy. But along with the fatigue, another feeling often shows up, a quiet emptiness, as if the day was full, but not meaningful. As if you did things, but not really for yourself. And it's hard to admit that, because it sounds ungrateful. Other people have it worse. Some struggle just to survive. So the thought, something is missing, feels inappropriate. So you push it aside. Everything's fine. I'm just tired. Now is not the time. And months pass, sometimes years. Slowly, life turns into constant maintenance, working to pay the bills, responding so you don't disappoint anyone, planning so things don't fall apart. Nothing is necessarily wrong, but very little is truly new. You're busy, but that busyness isn't building anything. It's only keeping things the way they already are. If you look closely, this going in circles state almost always looks ordinary. No drama, no collapse, no obvious breakdown. That's why it's so easy to miss. Take one common example. Someone says for years that they're working on themselves. They watch videos, they read books, they listen to podcasts. Every time, it feels like something is about to click. A new insight, a new perspective, a sense of clarity. But a few days later, like life slips back into the same rhythm, the same habits, the same decisions, the same postponed actions. months go by, and the only clear change is that they know more. Another example, someone is constantly busy with work, responsible, serious, reliable. Days fly by, fatigue builds up, and there's a comforting thought. I work a lot, so I must be moving forward. But when they honestly ask themselves what has actually changed over the last year, the answer is often vague. More experience? Maybe. More clarity? Not really. More sense of living their own life, like instead of reacting to circumstances? Often? No. There's another version of the state, and it's especially subtle. Preparation. I'm not ready yet. I need to understand a bit more. It's not the right time. From the outside, this looks reasonable, even responsible. Preparation doesn't look like doing nothing. It feels productive. It feels safe. Because it doesn't require uncomfortable decisions. It doesn't require risk. It doesn't force you to act before you feel certain. At the same time, it creates a convincing feeling of progress. As if you're moving forward, even when nothing is actually changing. Years pass this way, still preparing, still waiting. Just a little more information, one more explanation, one more plan. This is the clearest sign of moving in circles. More effort, but less internal change. Constant activity without a clear shift in direction. To understand why this happens, you have to look at how the mind works. The brain isn't very good at distinguishing real progress from the imitation of progress. What it really cares about is control. When you're busy, the brain receives a simple signal. We're doing something. Things are under control. That signal alone is often enough to reduce anxiety. That's why stopping feels uncomfortable. Silence feels unsafe, because in silence, there are no distractions, and questions appear. Uncomfortable ones. Is this life actually important to me? Is this what I want, or just what I'm used to? Am I choosing this, or just reacting? These questions don't give quick answers. They don't give control. It's much easier to stay busy. Add another task, make another plan. Until at some point, it becomes clear. The problem was never a lack of effort. The problem was direction, because exhaustion is not proof of progress, and busyness is not proof of life. At some point, the real shift begins. Not with a dramatic decision or major life change, but with awareness. With noticing the difference between movement and direction. Between staying busy and actually going somewhere. Real progress rarely feels loud or urgent. Most of the time, it feels quiet and steady. It starts with paying attention to where your time and energy are really going, without judging yourself or trying to fix everything at once. Clarity doesn't demand immediate action. It doesn't rush you. It simply removes confusion. And once confusion is gone, the next step becomes obvious, even if it's small. If this video leaves you with a moment of pause or a thought you don't immediately try to drown out with noise or tasks, that's enough. Because that's where direction actually begins.